Okay, Cole Munson here with Jason Swan of Holborn Assets with an update on Portugal's golden visa, possibly the hardest working man in the golden visa industry, I've heard. Jason, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Always a pleasure to speak with you, Carl. At 6 o'clock at
Uh,
night after a hard day, of course.
yes, well, thank you for fitting me in because I know the pressure must be intense at the moment, and you'll tell us why with the golden visa. I mean, a lot of people are familiar with this situation, if not to the detail, then the intensity and the pressure and the timeline here that is rapidly running out. So, could you give us a very brief update, generally speaking, and then emphasize the importance of some urgency around this matter?
Um, yes, no problem. I'm going to try and ease the pressure a little bit, actually,
Yeah,
Carl, because there's a
good.
lot of panic at the minute. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
panic since February, and my message is not to panic at the moment because the program is very much alive. It is still exactly the same as it has been for the past couple of years. Um, there's not a lot of news to report just yet, other than the preliminary draft, the change in law, which would cease the program, is to be put to Parliament in 10 days' time, which is kind of the next kind of part of the legal process on the path to no more golden visa. But there's going to be a bit of time to show once it goes to Parliament, if Parliament vote for it in its current state.
Mhm.
It still needs to be passed to the primary, not to the prime minister, to the president.
Yeah.
And we think there's going to be at least another 30 days or so um, before the law can physically change. So we're processing applications in 2 to 4 weeks as a maximum at the moment. I
Wow.
think we've got plenty of time, so there's no panic just yet.
Right. Okay. So it's important that people do get on with it, but there is no need to panic at the moment. To be measured and steady about this, and it is still possible. That's the emphasis here. Is it is still possible, and we're speaking ahead of a special webinar which will go into much greater depth, pretty much this time next week, right?
Yes, almost. I think almost exactly this time next week, Carl. Yep,
Yeah.
next Tuesday.
And what can people expect then? What's going to be in the detail of the webinar for people still interested in the Portugal's golden visa and wanting to get in before it finally closes?
Well, we'll start with actually looking at what the golden visa is
Yeah.
and the process involved for those that are just starting their golden visa journey. And we'll have a look at some of the developments out there that qualify for the program. We'll have a look at what the availability is. We'll go through costs. We'll go through what family members can also be included on the visa as well. And there'll be a live Q&A as well, so everyone will have a chance to ask any questions that they've got towards the end, and I'll try and answer as many as I can.
Superb. Okay, what I'd like to do before I let you go today is get a sense of some of your happy customers and satisfied clients. Before we do that, I think one key concern for people is what happens if it does run out and I've made the application, I've parted with my hard-earned, as it were. What sort of security and safety is for people in that condition or that position?
Well, first of all, as of February, when the announcement was made about the closure, we've updated our agreements, where the clients now have no risk of any money being lost, because if for any reason we're unable to process the application with SEF before the program closes, Holborn will refund all legal fees and any deposits paid on any property as well. So there is no risk of that happening. We also maintain a 100% success rate of our applications. We've done over 10% of the world's golden visa applications now. So we won't be breaking that record. If there's going to be any problems with the application, we shall of course advise very early on in the process.
That's terrific. Okay, so for those of those 10% golden visas that you've been involved with, and that's thank you for mentioning that because I'm sure will come as a great confidence a booster for people who find themselves in the turmoil of the end days of the golden visa. But for those looking back over the last few years, and I'm sure you've got happy memories of helping people move to Portugal under this scheme, which will of course be a historical one in due course. Can you give us, without going into too much personal detail, of course, some nice case studies of where people have come from and where they've ended up enjoying life here in Portugal?
Yeah. Well, I would say America for the most front, Carl. I've been
Uh-huh.
speaking to so many Americans. I've almost picked up an American accent, but we've got. I'd say maybe I don't know. I have an idea of what's happening in the US at the moment, but for one reason or another, it does seem that America is the number one home city for those looking to move to Portugal. Whether it be for we had a lady a couple of weeks back who was looking to get European access for her daughter, who's looking to study in Europe rather than over in the US. So part of the Golden Visa allows you to get access to the education as well as the healthcare system in Europe, which is one of the
Yeah.
best systems in the world. Um, what else do we have?
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I think the emphasis has shifted from Chinese golden visa holders to the Americans, as you suggest there. Is that right?
Kind of. It might also have something to do with the fact I'm not very good at talking Chinese, so I don't
Well,
seem to.
yes, I won't put you on the spot. I won't put you on the spot with that. And what are the other reasons then? Talking to a lot of Americans who are interested in Portugal now, it's amazing the amount of interest in America in
Yeah.
coming to live in Portugal. What are some of the features and factors that are swaying their decision in moving to this wonderful country where you and I are currently?
Well, by comparison with most of the US, it's a very low cost of living. First of all,
Yeah.
obviously
Mhm.
we have the weather, which is why I moved to Portugal, and I think for US in particular, it is the for political reasons. It's not that everybody is moving to Portugal right this moment, but the common theme is that they like to have a backup option for some point in the
Yes.
future, maybe somewhere
Yeah.
to retire to in the
Yeah.
future. The real big kind of advantage of the golden visa is that there isn't really a minimum stay requirement. You've only got to be here for 1 week every year to maintain the visa, and then you get the passport after 5 years, and then you've
Yeah.
got 27 passports effectively because you can live in anywhere in Europe once you've got the passport. So it makes
That's a really
sense.
good point. That's a really good point. And of course, it's not a matter of becoming Portuguese and having to give up your American passport. This is a dual nationality situation. Not, I mean, and as you say there, not just dual, not just America and Portugal, United States and Portugal, but all of the rest of the Schengen to visit as well, which I think comes as a, once people have spent some time in Portugal, then they can spread their wings and fly to other parts or travel by train or even coach. Coaches are much nicer here in Portugal than they are in the United States, I understand it, but move all around of Europe.
Indeed, yeah. Well, I think I'm in the best bit. I'm slightly biased, obviously, but I was in Spain for 5 years before I came to Portugal, and yeah, I think Portugal's the best part. But yeah, there's plenty of other countries within the EU to choose from if you get bored of Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely. So wonderful, wonderful climate, wonderful people, food as well that we like very much here. So the lifestyle, and of course the safety factor, I think, which is becoming more and more an issue for would-be American arrivals here in Portugal as well. A bit of a cheeky question, perhaps. What are you going to do after the golden visa situation has come to a conclusion?
We might be surprised, Carl. This is not my only job. I am.
Really? Oh, okay. No, well, I know you're specialising in this and have done for the last little while. So yes, what else is it that you do at Holborn Assets?
Well, I'm a regulated financial planner. I'm qualified for giving
Okay.
financial advice and asset management and taxation guidance as well on different topics. So um, that is what I'm experienced and trained to do over the past kind of 15 years or so. So it goes hand in hand
Okay.
obviously, with helping people to get to Portugal and then making sure they can afford the lifestyle once they get here as well.
Oh, tremendous. Okay, so yes, that so things will quieten down, the dust will settle, and you'll go back to wealth management, I suspect, in the broadest sense of the term there. And what sort of things do Holborn Assets do for people?
Well, first of all, make sure everything goes nice and smoothly from a taxation perspective. Obviously, the tax, not just in the US, but the US in particular, is quite tricky. Um, the US is one of two countries in the world that will continue to tax its citizens even if they move away to another country.
Mhm.
So there's quite a few hurdles to overcome when becoming tax resident in a new country. Um, NHR of the tax regime you'll be aware of, Carol, which incentivizes people to move here, can be utilized to give a tax-free income on dividends and rental income for the first 10 years uh, that you live in Portugal, and making sure that everything is in order, making sure that we generate as much income from ongoing investments and pension plans, and making sure everything is, like I say, no problems kicking on the tax front, either in the home country or when arriving in Portugal as well.
So wealth management and financial peace of mind there, long after the golden visa has done its thing here for Portugal, and that you've signed up the last few people who will be coming in via that process. Anything else people need to know about? This time next week, you will be doing a specialised and in detail webinar on how to go through the whole process. Anything else that we need to share with people right now?
Not massively. We're going to go through full A to Z next week. I am hoping to have a new development to talk about as well, which we've been waiting for since February. Since February and
Okay.
the announcement, no developers have been wanting to release any new developments because they're not even
Of
sure
course.
how long they've got to sell them. But I'm 99% sure I'll be introducing a brand new development in the Algarve, which qualifies for the program. Other than that, don't panic at this stage. We're not out of time. Don't worry about all the headlines that are saying it's closed, etc., because it
Yes.
isn't.
Yeah.
Um, but if obviously any questions anyone has, they can log in next week. They can book a meeting with me anytime. And other than that, we'll cover lots. Like I said, we'll cover lots more on the webinar.
Well, I look forward to seeing you then, and people can book up, of course, via expatsportugal.com. And if they want to have a chat with you about anything we've mentioned beyond the Golden Visa with that wealth management side of things, they can find you in the Expats Portugal business directory as well. Have a good evening here in Portugal. Things are looking very spring-like and summery, aren't they, at the moment?
Indeed, they are. My tan has faded a little bit since our last webinar, unfortunately, Carl, because I've been locked in my office. But who knows? Maybe get some sun in this weekend.
Fantastic. All right, look forward to seeing you next week. Cheers, Jason. Bye for now.
Thanks, Carl. See you soon.